Guys, welcome back to One Way Ratchet. So look, it's just me. It's just Dan right now. Uh, Trent is really sick. He's got a terrible flu. Poor guy. He's laid out. He's probably feeling a little bit like Saxon right now. The throwing up and feeling sick part. Okay. I'm not saying that Trent had the same kind of experience as Saxon. I have no idea if he's with his brother right now. I don't think he is. So, okay, you can breathe easy on that one. But look, he's out really bad. He can't get out of bed, and there's just so much we got to get into. I thought, okay, let's do a quick hit. I'll just do what I can here. I'm flying solo. I'm operating without a net, without my wingman, and I'm going to do my best. Okay. I'm also traveling. I'm in a hotel. I think you can see behind the mini bar and everything in my hotel room. But look, let's just get into it. This was one hell of an episode. Look, this was shocking. Obviously intentionally shocking. And there's a lot to say. I'm going to save the Saxon and Lachlan to the end because, my God, I mean, where did we begin on this? So I guess a quick recap, and then I'm going to get into a few theories and some stuff that just come across my transom that I just find really interesting. And I hope there's a payoff. We only have 2 episodes left. I don't think there will be a payoff on a lot of these. I think that's a little bit of Mike White's deal. He puts a lot in there. There's a ton of detail. There's a ton of nuance. There's all kinds of stuff floating around on TikTok and on just throughout the internet of all these theories. And so I just want to touch on a few that I find the most interesting. Okay, so just really in no particular order. This episode, to me, more than anything, was about consequences. There was a long buildup. The whole season built up to the previous night where all the shit went down. And frankly, the consequences of the actions of all the major characters came to the party. There was the party, there was the joy seeking, the thrill seeking, the US consumerism and thrill seeking, pleasure seeking, always juxtaposed against this Asian Buddhist suffering internal that's like the contrast throughout the entire season. And man, did you see it. And after the party comes the hangover. And you saw that across many of the characters, right? Almost everyone. And so just realized, starting with the Girls Gone Wild weekend. Okay, Kate, you suck. I'm so over you. I can't stand you. You are the troublemaker. None of these three are perfect. And there's always an unstable dynamic, especially among women. It just is a stereotype of all ages. But man, Kate, you were just stirring up the shit. You told Lori, knowing it was going to hurt her, obviously. You knew Lori had a little thing for Valentine. That's obvious. Lori's getting the attention for not necessarily the first time, but compared to these two other of her friends who steal the spotlight a lot more, especially Jacqueline. And you could just tell through some of their dialogue that goes back many years, all the way to middle school, right, or high school. And so in telling her that, you knew that was going to hurt her. That was part of the point. And then you sort of bad vibe her for getting upset about it, right? Oh, I didn't know that was going to upset you. Bullshit. Okay, so Kate, number one, it's just, I'm over it. Now, this storyline in general, I just don't really see where this is going. And I don't really see how it's connected to the other plot lines. And it may not be. It'd be really cool if Mike White can sort of thread the needle and connect all these different stories. But again, this is one of those things that I'm tempering my expectations to see where it's going. And I don't know that we're going to get much with this. I mean, I think this one's pretty obvious. The fallout from those dynamics, from Jacqueline having to be the center of attention, the male attention in particular, she has used that to her advantage her whole life, clearly. And it did make me think, though, of one thing. And it went back to that great scene earlier, oddly, with Kate, who at the time admitted she might have been a Trump supporter. Okay. And then the other two had such a reaction to that. And this sort of moral condemnation of, oh my God, like how could you? and a little bit of the superiority. Well, turns out that the whatever end of the political spectrum you're on doesn't make you a better person than the other. There are shitty people on the left. There are great people on the right, and vice versa, obviously. So I think that's interesting to me. And I think that's sort of a very, especially U.S. politics, it's really pertinent to the discussion just across in everyone's mind these days, politically, socially, culturally. Okay, putting the three aside, Guy talk. Guy, we don't get much of him. I also don't really see where this is going, connection to the other characters, other than maybe as a way to introduce the gun. But speaking of the gun, man, Guy talk could use that thing pretty well, right? I mean, wouldn't you have thought when he was given the gun and now, hey, you got to go to the range and use it, that he might have been a fumbling idiot with it? Man, he seemed like he had handled a gun before, didn't he? I mean, would anyone listening who's hearing this right now, would you know what to do at a gun range? Hit the target, cock it, load it, whatever, being, seemingly holding it correctly. So I'm just putting a pin in that maybe there's more to Guy talk. Maybe this is the hiding in plain sight kind of thing that maybe there's more to him. I thought it was Mook, perhaps. Mook seems really sweet. Now, sexy K-pop dancer, maybe she'll reveal herself as to, something connected maybe to the robbery. I don't know. Sweet characters though, man, I am really rooting for Guy Talk and for Mook. That would be amazing to have sweet characters have a happy ending in this show. And speaking of sweet characters, oh my God, Belinda. Belinda. Now, I know people are on the angst is high out there for Belinda, especially to make it out of the season. And it would just be, I don't know if Mike White has it in him to kill a character like Belinda after everything. It's just the tensions are just ratcheting up with her. But I saw this great theory, and I just think this one I got to get into a little bit. It's just kind of bizarre, but man, it lines up. What is the thing that Belinda, from the very beginning, she's had this interaction with a particular animal? And no, it's not the monkeys. Okay, the monkeys are its own theme throughout. And I still think there'll be a payoff somehow with monkeys. But no, what did she hear? What startled her when she in the premiere as she's walking to her room? What does she hear? What does she hear in her room? What freaks her out? It's a giant lizard, monitor lizard. Okay. Now, in the very beginning, when she's, again, getting back, she's walking to her room, she freaks out. She's like, oh my God, what is that? And oh my God, I'm sorry, guys. I'm improvising here. I'm obviously doing this live. Her romantic interest, the guy, my God, it'll come to me after I stop recording, it'll come to me. You know what I'm talking about. The guy she shacks up with, who's awesome. Another's just sweet, awesome character, kind of like Guy Talk. He tells her, no, don't worry about them. They will become your friend. So that's interesting. Why would you say to someone that a lizard might become your friend? They're not really seem like they'd be your friend. Yet this image of the lizards keeps reoccurring in Belinda's life. I saw this theory that the lizard, now bear with me, is actually a reincarnation of Tanya, that in some way is out there to look after and protect Belinda. Now, I know it seems stupid. Trust me, there's a million stupid theories out there. This one, though, connects back to a line in episode 2, season 1. Okay? Tanya goes in for a massage with Belinda in Hawaii. And it's an amazing massage. It's mind-blowing. And so afterwards, she's complimenting Belinda, and this is when she invites her to dinner. She says, I had a dream that I was in Asia on the top of a hill with a cyanide pill. What? Okay. Kind of random. Total non sequitur in season 1. But wait a minute. Let's think where they are. They're in Asia. Greg Gary place many times. He said 5 different times he's on the top of the hill. And no, there's not a cyanide pill, but there is a poisonous pill that's been put in play. Also in the premiere. The fruit the whatever, that the seed of that poisonous fruit is something that, I don't know, is this going to come into play somehow? This is a theory that somehow a lizard might knock the fruit off the tree. Somehow that seed maybe gets into one of Saxon's famous shakes. They keep showing that fucking blender. Is this going to somehow lead to some series of events that's going to end up saving Belinda? Put a pin in that. Again, I want to believe, there's so many things. Like, why would that line be in episode 2 of season 1? And then why would so much of that connect to this season without there being some payoff? But I'm not betting on it. Not at all. Really, any of these theories, they're fun to talk about, but I'm absolutely not betting on any of them coming to be, right? Okay. Rick. There's theories out there about Rick's family tree. Is Shrikala possibly Rick's dad, right? No, you heard that. Shrikala, possibly his dad. A trans version of his dad that he never knew, obviously. I've seen some speculation around this. I mean, why else would you introduce that incredible monologue from Sam Rockwell, all about trans Asian women, American men? I don't know. I'm staying far away from that one. I don't think it's going to pay off. I also just think this whole thing with Rick, it's such a slow moving thing, but I think it's also very linear in the sense that I just tend to believe. I'm now just a believer in what Rick's been saying, at least as far as what he understands about his life. And he just wants to get a confrontation with this guy that he thinks killed his dad. And I think the gun's probably there just to scare him, just to raise the stakes, just to give Rick the actual power over this guy. And because I think Rick is also rational enough to know, with all his bodyguards and stuff, like, he kills this guy, he's almost certainly not getting out of there alive, or not without a gunfight against guys who know what the hell they're doing. So I don't know. I'm invested in Rick. I love Chelsea. Chelsea is just, her stock just is skyrocketing up my leaderboard. Her facial work in this episode, that scene with her and Saxon at the pool in the aftermath, I watched that like 3 times. And both, I mean, I would nominate both Chelsea and Saxon right there for an Emmy for that scene alone. What they're doing, what they're conveying, her eye work, her face work, as the reality of what happened the previous night becomes clear for all of them. And Chloe too, it's just killing it. But okay, but just to go back, I'm sorry, I know I'm a little all over the place, but getting back to the Rick thing. I mean, I thought that scene with Rick and Sam Rockwell on the boat, oh man, that's sexy, that's stylized, that is so cool. It makes me really want to go to Bangkok. I mean, oh my God, I've never been to Asia. And getting those boat scenes, just those islands out there outside of Thailand, I forget what those are called, but I know they're famous. And just cruising around on those boat taxis in Bangkok looks awesome. So I'm very eager to see where this is going with Rick. And but again, I'm not expecting like this Mike White playing 3-dimensional chess with these big reveals, if you know what I mean, which is that's also, for anyone who pays attention to all the speculation out there, that there is a lot about Rick's dad. All right, now let's get to the meat of the matter. This would be a joke with Trent, of course, obvious stupid setup, but my God, boys. Okay, I've got a brother. Trent's got a brother. I can't imagine this happening in my life, but look, I want to be sensitive, I suppose, in a way, because look, all these things happen in the world. I'm not here to say that there's some sort of heteronormative like way that everything is. No, if anything, the show shows you time and again that there is every combination of human sexuality under the sun, and I don't think there's Mike White's making a moral statement on any of it. I think it's partly there to shock you, but this drug-induced night of debauchery that I thought was so clever in the reveal. It was great in the way that White revealed it, because right at first you think, all right, is Saxon taking care of himself, just watching? By the way, also, I mean, that's taboo enough. That really is. I mean, it'd be one thing if it's two buddies, right? But when it's your brother, that crosses over some set of lines, right? But now knowing that you know, Lachlan and Saxon were involved, right? That is a three-way. That is the three of them together. That is Lachlan and Saxon having sex at some level. And I don't, I mean, I can't say I'm familiar with that. I think Lachlan, there's a lot of theories going on about Lachlan. I just need to get into one. In the previous episode, or it was one or two ago, I forget, but when they get to the full moon party and they're handed the drugs, Lachlan takes a swig of his drink, right? But it looks, and it's very clever the way the camera does it. It looks like he spits right afterwards. Now, spitting out his drink, did he was too much carbonation? You know what I mean? If you like chug something or it goes up your nose, whatever. But it was just clever in that it wasn't obvious. It wasn't like one of those things where it was a reveal where he obviously didn't take the drug. But it is clear. And if you go back and you can just Google, did Lachlan spit out the pill or whatever? You just Google that. You'll see. You'll see the little clip. Now, that by itself would be something. But what else did we learn about Lachlan recently that doesn't really just line up with any of his character? That he's just magician. He literally is a sleight of hand expert. Or, or he's very proficient at sleight of hand. That's a very odd skill. It doesn't really line up with this underspoken, somewhat confused, overshadowed younger brother, whatever, or maybe that's the kind of guy who goes into his room and does magic. I don't know. But all I mean is it just seemed like a very odd thing to spend any sort of camera time on. Well, you put those together, who is the guy who could fake taking a pill better than anyone else? I don't know. Someone who's like really good at card tricks and sleight of hand? Maybe. Now, throw on top of that this other very specific choice, which is the old short switcheroony that the brothers did the next morning. You catch that? Saxon, who gets up first, he puts on Lachlan's shorts. And then, obviously, Lachlan had no other choice. He put on Saxon shorts. They seemed almost a little big for him, right? This is clearly by design. This obviously doesn't happen by accident. Here's the theory. Is Saxon going to find that pill that Lachlan did not take on the night that they, quote, blacked out? And is that reveal going to be something that puts Saxon over the top? That, oh my God, it's bad enough it's bad enough to think that you just had this crazy drug-addled night where everyone is blacked out. But you know what happened? Look, that is bad enough. But if you were then faced with the reality that, holy crap, he wasn't blacked out at all. He was faking being blacked out. What does that do to you? Especially when you know there's this fucking poisonous fruit and you're force-feeding your brother shakes all season. I don't know. I just think there's so many things that they have spent so much time. Even if they're little scenes, but it's just repetitively showing you these things without there to be a payoff. I am just so intrigued with this one. I also think, my God, we'll see. We got 2 episodes left, but now that Lachlan is sort of, he is now stepped into his power, I guess you might be something you'd say, is he going to now make a move on Piper? Now that they are, plot-wise, now they're stuck together in probably very close quarters with, like, they'll be sleeping together, like literally right next to each other in this intimate moment. And something tells me he is, right? He struck me as interested in both of his siblings from the jump. And now that the social norms of the U.S., of Durham, North Carolina, don't apply when you are truly an entire world, half a world away in this completely foreign land. Yeah, you can seemingly do anything and be anything. And I think that is, man, we're going to see. Okay, so last one. So speaking of consequences, the whole Tim storyline. I'm gonna. I think that his meeting with the monk, I should say, I hope, is the thing that makes him see the light. That there is so much more to live for. That even though that scene that the monk depicted, that beautiful image of water, going up and then returning, that is as a happy return. So I think there was an instant reaction to that. That like that. Oh, now okay, now he's not going to fear death. He's just going to embrace it. In fact, he'll do a dream sequence of doing the mercy kill on Victoria, who could not live a poor person's life or whatever, and the shame and being cast out. But I'm thinking that he kind of saw the consequences of his suicide, right? When you commit suicide, when you commit suicide, you have no more consequences. You've just pushed all of your consequences. Your problems are over. You've put all of them times 1,000 onto the people that you love the most in this world, who will be wrecked forever. And by extension, their kids will be wrecked because their parent is wrecked. The cascading devastation of a suicide like that, especially with a gunshot to the head, that your family's going to find you, like the most traumatic thing that could possibly happen. He saw that. He saw the consequences of that. And it scared the shit out of him. Rightfully so. My God. So I'm a little optimistic for Tim. I'm hoping that the whole Buddhist plot, or that whole the wisdom of the life is suffering, that it's not all this pleasure seeking, his conversation with the monk, all of it is a turning point for him. You'll live. You'll live. Hey, if anything, society, especially American culture, loves a comeback. Some contrition, pay for your, atone for your fucking sins, do your time. You'll probably get out early. You'll go to white collar, good behavior. You'll get out. You can do a book deal, whatever. You'll have another chapter or two after. And I'm sure I'm forgetting. Okay, last, then I guess I'll just close on Gary, the Greg Gary plot. It's coming to a head. It's fascinating. I find this thing really interesting. I mean, what in the hell is he up to? And he's bringing all the principles together. Is it going to be violent? Is it going to be some sort of clever business deal? Like, for example, perhaps he knows about what's happening with Tim back home. Maybe he can offer the Ratliffs an escape hatch into Thailand or something. He's wealthy. He's got connections. He can set him up in exchange for them taking care of Belinda, one way or the other. Is he going to maybe buy off Belinda? Hey, you want to do a spa? Your dream? Why? Hey, let me make that happen for you. Don't forget what side your bread is buttered on all of a sudden, right? Because there's still no proof. I mean, there is no proof. Obviously, there was an investigation about, in previous seasons. So all Belinda can do is say that she saw him at the resort, which everyone knows he was at the resort. So it's not, Belinda doesn't have any kind of smoking gun on this guy. I think it just has made his life uncomfortable in Thailand. That's really it. And look, guys, I'm in love with the show. I think the quality level, the stakes just keep rising. It's still a slow burn. I get it. And we got two more. In closing, the one other theory that I haven't ever touched on, but I do think is it's obviously by design. It goes without saying. But the whole Pied Piper thing, which I think a lot of you hearing me right now have probably heard this theory before. Okay, some of these names, right? The Ratliff family names are they were from the jump. You knew something like one way or the other. It's like A+ names, right? Oh, well, it turns out none of them are random. They are from the classic Pied Piper story. Okay, the Pied Piper. Hello. What did he do? I'm going to butcher this because I read it like beginning of the week and I'm just forgetting the details. But it is in. He leads the rats right out of the town. Okay, rats. How many different little moments has it been? People saying Ratcliffe? No, Ratliff. The sort of focusing on the rat part of their name. Just seems odd, right? Okay. Where? What part of the world did that story take place in? Saxony, another name for Great Britain. And then all the rats drowned in the lake, Lachlan, Lake. It's just I'm not doing this justice because I think there's even a little more to this theory, but all there's no coincidence in those names. They're all by design. They're made to bring up the fable of the Pied Piper, and I think the to me it's just this image of a dead person floating in the lake, right? And then you see Lachlan with that killer shirt. Man, I need to get one of those shirts, although they're going to be kind of iconically connected to the show. I bet by next year, you'll see that shirt out there in the wild, his truly alligator shirt. He's wearing images of floating animals. There's a floating dead body, the whole thing. His name is Lake. So look, all this stuff, you put all this together, all these spinning plates, all these loose threads, all this stuff. And I'm just, more than anything, I'm just fascinated to see where it goes. I'll be okay. I'm resigned, just like in seasons 1 and seasons 2. There was not some incredible payoff, right? We both know this. It was some accidental, stupid thing, but yet it felt, it resolved the story. And, we kept coming back. We love the show. So that's my bet. My money is on that. Anyway, guys, I hope Trent feels better by the end of the week. We'll bring him back on. We'll do this all again. I couldn't have the whole week go by without a show. And that's it. That's enough of me yammering. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. And, appreciate any feedback. I've gotten some really good feedback from people, and it means a lot. And thank you very much. And hopefully we'll see you again with Trent this week. If not, we will see you next week. 2 more. All right, people. Peace out.